What is going on, guys? Sean is back with a technical analysis. Here we have Tom Parker, formerly of William and Mary, a British hammer thrower. Uh, this is a 16-pound training best, he said. Uh, yeah, let's take a look. Okay, was it 3 winds, 4 turns, toe, and 3 heels? All right, Tom. So what I would say is initially, I would slow down your first 2 winds. And then, because right now it looks like all your winds, and potentially even this first wind, like right here, that movement. So one more time, like this forward swing right there, I think is the fastest part of your winds, and because of that, um, your rhythm is just a little bit off. So what needs to happen in the throw is from the start of the throw, so like that initial forward swing, through the winds, through the turns, through the finish, the ball needs to more or less be constantly accelerating for you to maintain tension and connection. And I think, um, like I said, your winds are just too much at the same speed, and therefore your turns are too much at the same speed. Your rhythm is very even, like a 1, 2, 3, 4, as opposed to 1, 2, 3, 4. Something like that. That's one thing that I've noticed in a lot of top-level hammer throwers is that their rhythm really picks up after that first turn, and I'll explain why that happens later on. So, yeah, like I said, so slow down. I'd say if you want to do 3 winds, go for it. I don't think it's necessary. Um, 2 winds is plenty, and I think it helps out rhythm because you can go slow and then strong. Whereas when you have 3 winds, you go slow and then you go strong, and then you have to go fast. And a fast wind is usually not the best way to enter the ball. But uh, regardless, so slow down this first wind, I would say. Like I said, this preliminary swing right here could be much easier. And what you should try to do is, I'd say, you gave me some points that you're trying to work on, and one of them was reach out, and try to set the ball up long, more towards 270, reaching out to the right and really setting it up long. And I think your winds need to reflect that as well. So as you can see, this preliminary swing, your hand and the ball pretty much comes right by your right side, as opposed to I think if you try to make your winds bigger, so you can see it's very close to your body here. The wire is very down, then the wire comes very up. As you can see here, ball's very high. You can't see it's not in frame, but it's pretty steep. And so the ball comes crashing down again. Not crashing necessarily, but drops. And then it starts to even out a little bit more. And winds start to get a little bit bigger. But as you can see, your hands are still relatively down by your hips. If you try to extend your hands out a little bit more and keep your hands up a little bit in your winds and set up the ball very long to the left and very long to the right, vice versa, depending how talking about it, I would say your right, and then your left, camera view left, camera view right, doesn't matter. But the bigger you can make your winds, meaning if you keep your hands up and out and you keep your orbit as big as you can in your winds, the more easy it will be to connect with the ball in the entry and have your turns be a little bit smoother and more seamless. So, that being said, bigger winds, keep your hands up a little bit more, let the ball come more right and more left. Step up after this, going into this final wind. And you can see here, so once again, this is you trying to get the ball long out left, which is good. It's a good sign. But then you also see there's a lot of movement here between the hips. And the more your hips move in the winds and the entry, the less stable the whole system will be, or it's kind of like playing Russian roulette. Like, yeah, you might hit it one throw, but the more your hips move, the more inconsistent you could possibly be. So that's one thing I've been trying to focus on lately, is having very stable hips in the winds, and I think that could help you as well. There's going to need to be a little bit of shift over to this right as the ball goes left, but this extension, the lower back here, your knees coming out of your toes, is not necessarily the best thing. Try to keep your abs more engaged, keep your head a little bit more forwards, hips forwards, posterior pelvic tilt, and just try to stay a little bit more. I mean, it looks like you're probably about 50-50 right here, but just try to think about loading this left side just a little bit more. So you can see, but this extension right here is going to push your chest down as the ball comes back forwards. See, chest comes down a little bit. It's not bad. It doesn't look like you're totally crashing down with the ball, so that's good. But like I said, it's the same thing. as in the winds, like I said, you need to really reach out to this right side and keep your hands up, in my opinion. You have the tendency to pull. You can see you're kind of throwing your hands down, not throwing your hands down, but this right elbow kind of comes down, hands kind of drop a little bit, chest comes a little bit forwards, and that kind of creates some left shoulder. You can see this right bicep, this right arm, or sorry, left arm. Your left arm is coming kind of across the body as your head is at 0. Hips are square to 0. You're loading that left side better, but you can see your left side really leads the ball into the throw, whereas the ball needs to kind of lead you into the throw. So the biggest thing here is off this off this final wind, you need to think about, rather than pushing the ball left, think about throwing the ball forwards. Alright, so you're going to, like right at about here, you're going to use all of your energy to kind of throw the ball forwards and relax. And it's a very short, quick movement, and you literally just like a little toss forwards. And then what you're going to want to do is wait for the hammer to go all the way around you. The ball already has momentum from the wind, so you don't need to be super aggressive with this push over here. And I think, like you said, one of your points was to focus on relaxing your arms a little bit more. And that's exactly when you need to do it. So you need to think about just a little slight push forwards, throw forwards at around 270 just after it. And then if you can really relax your arms and keep a nice solid torso and feel your legs kind of holding your position, and then just wait for the ball to pass. So like I said, so get this position right here, try to hold that position until the ball gets to about there, and then you just want to turn with it, whereas right now you're just turning ahead of the ball and kind of shifting back slightly. So that's kind of the biggest thing that I've seen so far is, like I said, that left side just kind of leading and you're being a little bit impatient and pulling the ball in through the finish, or in through the entry, rather than letting the ball take you in, waiting for the ball. So let's continue. Do a pretty good job chasing the ball around the left side with his right hip, but it's just his left side's already shifting back. You're kind of pulling your left side back out of the way to get your right side around, rather than keeping your left side where it is and using that right side to go around. So you're just kind of cheating the system a little bit. It doesn't look terrible. By no means does it look terrible. It looks pretty. You do think it looked pretty good, but in my opinion, I don't think that's the most efficient way to throw. But good job. Right hip comes around very quick. Single support action. Level shoulders, hips, and then you try to catch. Try to get aggressive in single support and catch pre-rotated, and I don't necessarily agree with that. If you go watch my video of my 77-20 that I just posted, I talk about how when I catch in each turn, my shoulders are square to the ball, but then also my hips are square to the ball. So I'm generally not a fan of separation in the hammer throw here, whereas you can see your hips are kind of facing 270 while your shoulders are facing more towards, what would that be, like 200 degrees or so, 210, 30 degrees after 180. So there's a separation between your hips and your shoulders, and I don't think that's necessarily the best thing. You did say you have a problem with catching early, too early, and that's quite possibly because you don't let the ball, or your left side leads the ball a little bit. Whereas if you let the ball go long around the left side, you probably wouldn't have that problem. But like so right here, not too early. It's just your hips, I think, could be more open and square to the ball. You'd feel probably a little bit more connected. You'd be able to feel your right leg working with the ball pretty well. And it does look like you kind of push the ball downwards here, and you can see some tension through your arms. You got to, once again, that kind of comes back to keeping your hands up. Let the ball go long, relax. I don't know if you use tacky or toss and sauce or anything, but if you don't, you probably should. You'd probably throw 2 meters further almost immediately, especially with technique like yours. You have the speed. You can just see there's a lot of tension here through the arms, shoulders, biceps, forearms. There's a lot of tension. Whereas you need to be more, the term I like to use is flaccid, not necessarily, I don't know, odd word to use, but flaccid upper body. Relax your arms. They should just be connections, not, they shouldn't be active. That's why, once again, I'm kind of not a fan of pushing left rather than throw the ball forwards and relax. If you push too much, there's too much tension, and then the ball never really gets free, as Litvinov would say. If the ball doesn't get free on the left side, then the ball's not going to go very far. It means you're controlling the ball rather than working with the ball. But you see your right leg doing a good job turning with the ball. Solid job here. Left side's pretty stable as the heel comes down. Yeah, you still shift back and pull back a little bit. You pull the ball around, but then drive that hip forward is really nice. So you have really good right side action. It's just this left side is just doing too much because, like I said right from the start, the entry is just a little bit rushed. Super good job. Bent left knee here. Solid catch. So this is really, really good posture position in terms of this catch. But once again, same kind of thing. I think your hips could be a little bit more open to the ball. But you do a good job settling back onto this left side. Left heel comes down. Right side's working with the ball, but you can still see just a lot of tension through the arms. You got to get your arms up and out, away from the body. Where you can see there's just, once again, a lot of tension. Maybe you're just naturally a tighter guy. I'm not sure. A little short on the single support here. Same kind of thing though. Heel comes down. This left hip needs to stay here, and you got to wait for the ball to pass. Whereas you're just a couple frames ahead of it. This left side action that happens is totally fine. It's just you need to wait for the ball to get in the right position, which would be just a little bit more after zero. Whereas we just go back a little bit too early. Otherwise, that's kind of why you pick up just a tad early. And once again, same thing. A lot of tension. Looks very active through the upper body. Solid lower body catch position here. Very lined up over this left side. Hips, once again, like I said, could be more square to the ball. But then another good job settling back on this left side. This stuff that you do here, like this lower body position is really nice. I wish I could do that every throw, but my legs don't work like that. Good stuff here. Level shoulders, level hips, square. But then, yeah, same thing. This left side just goes back a hair too early. It's literally 2 frames. Just a little bit too early, but you do, once again, a good job driving your hips towards your hands. And then more tension. More tension. I'd say a good technical model for you might be Marcel Lomnicki, because he's a little bit shorter. And from this video, it looks like you could just be a little bit shorter, unless you're just like a massive human who's well proportioned for like a 6'2" guy. I don't know. But yeah, Marcel Lomnicki might be a good example. You could see he's very long and relaxed with his upper body, and he's very active with his lower body, whereas you just look a little bit too tense through the upper body. Maybe you're just too jacked. Right side, doing a good job coming around, stepping forwards. Solid position again here, settling into the left side, and then boom, really solid finish. Hips come through. Nice, long, relaxed. So yeah, Tom, I'd say the biggest thing for you is, like I said, bigger winds. You could use better rhythm through your winds. Like I said, slow to fast, not whereas everything is kind of one speed, so you probably have to make your first 2 winds much slower. And plus, the easier you wind, the easier it is to feel the ball, and the easier it is to set it up the same every throw. So that might help. But the biggest thing for you, from what I've seen, is just waiting for the ball, keeping your hands up, reaching your hands out more to the right, and waiting for the ball to pass more in the entry instead of cutting it off or pulling that left side a little bit back to get that right side around. Hold that left side and let the ball go. Wait for the ball. Be patient, whatever you want to call it. Be still. Wait for the ball. It will go. You don't need to act on it. It will go around you. It has momentum. You just need to hold and wait for it, and then that'll help you connect. The more you let the ball pass in this first turn, and then especially the more you let the ball pass after this first catch, so as you can see, you're just a little bit impatient. If you can really let the ball pass in the entry and after the first catch, it's very tough, uncomfortable feeling, but if you let it happen, that rhythm will be much better, and that throw will become much more effortless, and it'll help you throw farther. So just wait for the ball more in the first 2 turns. After that, everything else you do is pretty good. Your lower body's pretty good. Upper body's pretty good. Yeah, you could maybe be relaxed a little bit more, but it's just this left side tension and leading the ball just a couple frames in the first 2 turns, or in the entry and after the first catch. That's kind of what hampers your ability to throw farther right now. Everything else is pretty solid. Really good lower body, really good catch positions, and pretty good patience. But yeah, the biggest thing is those first 2 turns. Wait for the ball to pass. It's a vague concept, but it makes all the difference in the world. Trust me. So, all right. Let me know if you have any questions, Tom. I'm here to help. And if anybody else out there wants a technical analysis, go to SeanDonnelly.biz. Sign up for an in-depth technical analysis. It's $15. And let's start helping you throw farther. So, Sean Don. Peace now.